Today we are talking about the transparency gap in Nigerian's job market. Why companies demand so much from workers but reveal so little themselves. There is a growing question many young Nigerians are asking today. That question remains. Why do companies demand complete honesty, transparency, loyalty, and accountability from job seekers while refusing to be transparent themselves? That question has returned to the center of public debate following comments by Tosi and Ilorunda, the CEO of Moniepoint, who suggested that social media pressure, hookup culture, and Yahoo culture are contributing to unfilled job vacancies among Nigerian youths. For some Nigerians, his comments reflected genuine concerns about changing values, unrealistic expectations, and a generation increasingly influenced by fast money culture online. But for many others, the reaction was immediate and sharp. Are companies truly struggling to find workers? Are workers simply rejecting conditions they no longer consider fair? Because behind the noise of online argument lies a deeper socio-economic reality about Nigeria's labor market. One built on imbalance, silence, and growing distrust. Now let's talk about the big contradiction. Modern Nigerian companies increasingly demand extraordinary levels of transparency from employees and applicants. A job seeker is expected to reveal everything: full educational history, work experience, NYSC details, salary expectations, social media behavior, career gap references, certificates, sometimes even personality tests and unpaid assessment. Employers want commitment, they want productivity, they want honesty, they want workers who are accountable, flexible, emotionally intelligent, innovative, and available at all times. But then comes a contradiction. Many companies still refuse to disclose salary ranges, welfare packages, promotion timelines, leave realities, workers' working hour, actual workload expectations, internal culture, remote work flexibility, staff turnover rate. Many Nigerian job adverts today, the applicant is completely exposed, while the employer remains hidden behind corporate branding and vague promises. That imbalance is exactly where much of the frustration begins. Now, talking about the culture of salary secrecy, one of the biggest complaints among young professionals today is simple. Why should I go through 5 interview stages before knowing what the job even pays? In many countries, salary transparency is gradually becoming standard practice, but in Nigeria, salary secrecy remains deeply embedded in corporate culture. Why? Because secrecy protects employers' bargaining power. When companies hide salary structures, applicants negotiate blindly, workers cannot compare fairly, employers can underpay different people, different employees become easier to control. And in a country battling massive unemployment, many companies know desperate candidates eventually accept almost anything. That is uncomfortable reality. Nigeria's labor market is heavily employer driven because demand for job far exceeds supply. When millions are unemployed or underemployed, businesses naturally gain more leverage. So even when conditions are poor, people still apply. Not necessarily because the job is attractive, but because survival leaves little choice. Now we have the labor shortage and the salary dissatisfaction. This is where the national conversation becomes more interesting. The company says we can't find enough qualified workers. Many young Nigerians hear something different. You can't find enough people willing to accept the conditions being offered. Those are not the same thing. There is an important difference between a labor shortage and a compensation dissatisfaction problem. Nigeria is not lacking talented people. Nigeria is not lacking talented youth or young people. The country is full of skill graduates, tech professionals, creatives, engineers, marketers, customer service workers, developers, analysts. What many workers are increasingly rejecting is the mismatch between expectations and reward. Imagine asking an entry-level applicant for 3 to 5 years experience, multiple technical skills, weekend availability, constant productivity, long commute hour, emotional resilience under pressure. Then offering a salary that barely covers transportation, rent, feeding, and data subscription in today's economy. At some point, frustration becomes inevitable. Now let's look at the inflation side. Yes, inflation has changed the conversation. This debate cannot be separated from Nigeria's economic realities. Inflation has fundamentally changed how young Nigerians think about work. The cost of transportation, food, electricity, internet access, housing, healthcare has risen dramatically in recent years. Meanwhile, many salaries have remained stagnant. So when employers speak about loyalty and commitment, workers are increasingly asking, are loyalty parents? That question may sound harsh, but it reflects genuine economic pressure. For many young professionals today, employment is no longer just about career growth or passion. It is about survival, and survival changes expectations. A generation facing economic instability will naturally become more selective about where it invests its time, energy, and mental health. Yes, social media changed the balance of power. Years ago, toxic workplace experiences often stayed hidden. Employees suffer quietly because there were few platforms to expose internal realities. That era is ending. Today, social media has become a public archive of workplace experiences. Workers now openly discuss toxic bosses, burnout, underpayment, micromanagement, delayed salary, exploitative internship, unpaid overtime, fate, family culture, branding for employers. This is uncomfortable because corporate branding no longer fully controls public perception. The company may project innovation externally while employees anonymously describe exhaustion internally. That gap between branding and lived experience is becoming harder to hide. This is why younger workers increasingly investigate companies before applying. Not just salaries, but culture. They ask, how are staff treated? Is management respectful? Is growth real or just promised? Is burnout normalized? Do employees leave quickly? This is a major cultural shift in Nigeria's labor market. But employers also are facing real pressures. To be fair, businesses are not operating in easy conditions either. Many Nigerian companies are struggling with currency instability, rising operational costs, energy challenges, foreign exchange pressure, high taxation, infrastructure failure, economic uncertainty. Some employers genuinely cannot afford the salary expectation workers now demand. That is the plain truth. Others fear salary transparency could create internal conflict among staff. And yes, some business owners do believe changing social attitudes have affected workplace discipline and long-term commitment. There are employers who complain that some applicants exaggerate qualifications. Some employees job hop constantly. Some workers expect rapid success without patience. Social media sometimes glamorizes unrealistic lifestyles. Those concerns should not be dismissed entirely. The truth is that distrust now exists on both sides. Employers suspect workers, workers suspect employers. And once distrust enters the labor market, productivity, morale, and loyalty all begin to weaken. Now let's look at the psychological weight on young Nigerians. One area often ignored in this debate is the emotional exhaustion many job seekers now experience. Consider the average Nigerian graduate today. Hundreds of applications, endless rejection emails, unpaid tests, multiple interviews, ghosting after recruitment stages, unrealistic recruitment for junior roles after repeated disappointment. Frustration naturally grows. Some young Nigerians no longer feel respected by the hiring process itself. And when people feel unseen, undervalued, or disposable, cynicism increases. That cynicism is now visible online. It explains why conversations around job increasingly become emotional, confrontational, and deeply personal. Because for many Nigerians, employment is tied directly to dignity, stability, and hope. Is Nigerian corporate culture evolving? This is perhaps the most important question of all. Globally, workplace culture is changing. Workers increasingly value mental health, flexibility, transparency, work-life balance, respectful leadership, clear compensation structures. Younger generations are questioning old workplace traditions that normalize silence, fear, and excessive sacrifice. Nigeria is not isolated from those global conversations. The challenge now is whether Nigerian corporate culture is willing to evolve alongside them, because the old model where workers are expected to endure anything simply because unemployment is high will become increasingly unsustainable, especially in sectors where talent now have mobility, remote opportunities, or global alternatives. Final thoughts on this analysis is the debate sparked around Tosin and New Loruda is ultimately bigger than one company or one statement. It reflects a deeper tension shaping Nigeria's modern economy. A workplace demanding dignity, transparency, and fair compensation, confronting a corporate system still heavily shaped by secrecy, hierarchy, and survival economies. And perhaps the real issue is not whether Nigerian youth want to work. The real issue is this: what kind of work culture are they being asked to enter? Because transparency cannot be a one-way demand. If companies want loyalty, trust, accountability, and commitment from workers, then workers will increasingly demand something in return. Honesty about pay, honesty about conditions, honesty about expectations, and honesty about the true realities behind corporate branding. The future of Nigerians' workplace culture may ultimately depend on which side adapts first. Now this, I would like to pause on this analysis. Just in the next one, it will be another spectacular moment with you.